So I've hosted Stan many times, which means I sit here and I repeat the questions that you guys give, and he makes fun of me repeating it to him, and then he answers you. So again, like Max said, he goes, when nice and loud. What's great is this, the last time I did this was in Dallas, and I think there was like 10,000 people. I'm not kidding. It was like a stadium type arena. So this is so cool because it's actually a small group. I know it doesn't look like it, but it's really an intimate group with Stan. So it's a real special kind of thing. Like I said, the couple of times I've done it, it's always been thousands of people. Now and again, this is different because I guess he's signing and all that stuff. So that's new. But got to get his signature while you can, right? We love him. Stan used to be my boss at one time, way back when. And he was an interesting boss to have. Because I never really saw him. He's a bit of a slave driver. No, he was pretty good. I mean, he would, he'd walk around the halls like looking at things, and I was a freelance guy, so I was like the guy that would go up at Marvel and look for any work I could, and walk around the offices and say who needs help or who screwed up a deadline. Maybe I can do something. And at the time, I was inking comics, and Stan came up to me one time in the hallway, and I never met him officially, and. Came up to me in the hallway, and I saw him coming from the other side of the Marvel offices, and I was like, oh my God, there's Stan Lee. Like, and you guys know with that, like, you love comics your whole life, the idea that Stan Lee is heading towards you don't know what to do. And it's not like it's a con where you can duck out. It was like, we were gonna meet, me and Stan were gonna meet. It was intimidating, and so I'm walking, and I'm like, what am I gonna say? Hello, Mr. Lee, Stan? Should I call him Stan? Or I should call him, Excelsior, or should I run away? Should I just turn away, run away? And so he walks towards me, and he looks me straight in the eyes, he goes, Jimmy Palmiotti, it's nice to meet you. Just like that. And I was like, oh my God, Stan Lee knows who I am. And I was like, hey, Mr. Lee, Stan, how are you? He goes, oh, you call me Stan, I'm like, okay. Nice little exchange. I'm a nervous wreck, and he walks away, like 10 steps away, and he turns back, and he goes, I bet you want to know how I knew who you were. And I'm like, uh-oh. And I'm like, how did you know? And he opened up his pocket, and he goes, I cut this picture out of Wizard magazine of you, and it has your name under it. And he goes, and they told me you're going to be here today, so I made sure I was going to know it's you when I see you. And that was probably the coolest thing ever, And I know he still has that photo in his shirt, because every time I see him, he's like, "You are again?" No, I'm kidding. But imagine, like I said, it was just the weirdest moment that Stan Lee had a picture of me in his pocket, and he was waiting to use it. Like, it's the most bizarre. You got to understand, the most surreal and bizarre thing ever. And like I said, breaking into comics, the idea that I was even going to be in a room with Stan Lee was so exciting and so nerve-wracking. So now here we are today, in a room, and you're all gonna be in a room with Stan Lee. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Mr. Stan Lee.
When there's this empty seat. All right, that's better. What could you possibly have told them that they don't already know?
They probably have a lot more questions. I was just telling them a story when I first met you, which, was like, a huge story for me, and it was a Tuesday for you.
I don't remember meeting you. It wasn't that great a moment.
No, there you go. I was telling him you actually had a photo of me. You had a photo of me that you cut out from Wizard magazine, because you said that somebody told you I was going to be up there that day, so you wanted to make sure if you saw me, you came over and said hello, and I thought that was the coolest thing on earth.
Yeah, one of the nicest people that was so considerate of me. It's one of the many wonderful things I've done in my life.
He is fantastic. He's modest, and we love that about him.
Modesty is my greatest attribute.
That's right. It is his superpower.
But I have a feeling about it. Yeah, is this a meet and greet type of thing?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, this is new to me because I've never done the.
See,
meet and
it
greet
seems
thing.
to me that meet and greet is a redundancy. Because if you meet somebody, you're greeting them. And if you greet somebody, you're meeting them. So why can't it just be a meet or a greet? You could save so much energy by not having to say meet and greet. So you learn things when I'm here.
Yes, and actually, I have no idea how this works. So, I'm just here to keep you busy and
You know what you're here for. If they have any questions,
That's true.
even though I look like a perfect specimen of a human being, I've lost my hearing a while ago. I can hardly hear anything. So he will repeat any questions you ask to me in his own mellifluous tone of voice, which I
right.
somehow can make out.
Terrific. Yeah. So let's take a couple of questions if anybody has. Right here. Thanos, step up. Stand up, Thanos. Let me see.
All the upcoming new Marvel movies in Phase 3, which one is staying most exciting for us?
Could you hear that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Always the latest one, the Fantastic Four, I guess. That's the next one. But I was real excited about, what was the one I just was in? What was the last one?
Let's see, was that,
Where was I?
Ant-Man. Oh,
Ant-Man, of course. Yeah, Ant-Man.
And
that's
Max
the
was
la-
in it too, actually.
That was the last one I saw. That was pretty damn good, let me tell you. Hey, Marvel doesn't do a bad job with these movies. You got to admit it.
Yeah, show of applause. Who's seen Ant-Man? Everybody seen Ant-Man? All right.
On behalf of Marvel, thank you.
Your Academy Awards in the mail. We know you did a great job.
If only they gave awards for the best cameo of the year. I'd have no competition.
That's true. That's true. Yes, gentleman right here.
Mr. Lee, is there any character that you created that you would like to revisit, that you would create differently?
Is there any character you created that you would create?
You don't have to
I
whisper
know,
to
I
me.
know. I don't want to blow out your only good ear. Come on. Is there any character you created already that you would, if you could, go back and do differently?
No, they're all perfect.
There you go. There you go. That's all right. Yes, right here.
What are your thoughts on Black Widow standalone movie?
What do you think about a Black Widow standalone movie? About a what? Black Widow?
Black Widow stand alone? Oh, that gal can stand alone anytime she wants. There'll probably be one. There'll probably be one. Just hold your breath. Don't hold your breath, but it'll come.
Okay. This little guy right there.
I think the funniest thing is he whispers to me like you shouldn't hear it. I told you I don't hear well. Talk louder.
And that's
to
why
me.
you think I'm whispering. They can hear me all the way back there. Yeah, right there.
Why, Mr. Lee, why did you start the TV show Stanley Superhuman?
Oh, why
You heard that?
Yes, I did. Why did you start the Stanley superhero show? I guess that show.
You're talking low again.
Okay.
You want to speak up?
I wanted to know why you started the Stanley superhero show. I guess it's
The family
superhuman show.
The Stanley Superhuman what?
Show.
Oh, the television show. To make money.
There you go. I could have answered that one for you, but I didn't
No,
want to.
actually, that wasn't even my idea. Somebody had the idea for the show and said, we want to do this, and would you be the guy who does something on the show? And I never can say no to anything because I'm a ham. So I got into it, and there you are.
There you go.
Another milestone in my march to glory.
All right, right there. Great.
Mr. Lee, what is your favorite or you think most important storyline that you've ever written?
My favorite what?
Storyline you've ever written? Favorite story?
Oh gosh, I'm no good at favorites. I gotta tell you, I'm my biggest fan. I love everything I do. And I don't think I have if I say this is a favorite, I'll think, no, I like that just as much, but wait a minute, what about that one? I love them all. I'm sorry, I just love it. Everything I've written, I don't know why there isn't my head on Mount Rushmore by now.
Well, we love everything you've ever written
By
as
the
well.
way, I'm only kidding.
Yeah, you're not kidding. We love everything you've done. So
I admire
we
your
can't-
taste.
That's it. Right here, Spider-Man.
Mr. Lee, do you think the Spider-Man movies need another reboot?
Do you think that Spider-Man movies need another reboot?
Spider-Man movies need another. They're getting one.
Yeah, do you think...
Wait till you see the next one.
Oh, so I guess so, yeah.
It's coming out very soon, and then we can talk about it later.
Okay. Yes,
I've been waiting for this moment. I would like you to share with me the words your mother had to inspire you. Because my son, you have been his idol. He loves you so much. So
Are you going to remember all that?
I'm going to try. What words your own mother told you to inspire you when you grew up, like to do what you do?
What
Your mother.
what she told me as I was growing up?
Yeah, like to inspire you to work so hard.
She usually said you're spending too much money on movies. No, she loved me to read. I loved to read, and she encouraged it. And in fact, one present I got that I never forgot. Most people don't get a present like this, but she bought me a little stand that you could put a book or a magazine on, so when you're eating, you could read. The book was standing up like that. And I had that stand for about 40 years. I finally lost it, and I was heartbroken.
Sure. Thanks.
Hello? Oh, here we go. Hey guys, remember I mentioned about starting the signing real quick? Have your items out. There's going to be people coming through the room, so we're going to try to get as much as we can, okay? So have your items out, and we'll sign it as best as we can. All right? So we're going to start in a moment.
Well, wait a minute. Are they worthy?
Oh, absolutely, Stan. All of these people are worthy.
I didn't hear what you said. Something to do with signing?
No, you said that if they're worthy, and I said yes, they're worthy.
I thought I was just going to sit here and talk. Now you want me to work?
No, multitask. Multitask.
Wait, I want to go over my contract.
I better work on my Stan Lee autograph while I'm up here.
It's funny because we were doing, he says, Max, I can do it faster. And I go, Stan, how the hell can you do it faster? You got only one left hand. I'll show you. He gets two Sharpies and he starts doing this.
That's Max Anderson. He calls himself my helper. I think he's my boss. He tells me where to go, what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And like an idiot, I listen to him. So what is it I'm going to do now, Max?
What we're going to do, Stan, is that while you're talking to them, we're going to be signing your books.
I have to talk and sign at the same time? Man.
All right, guys. They'll be coming by through here, so just hand them your stuff and we'll move along.
And I'll keep taking questions while we're going. And let's go for one in the back over there. Yeah, you got it with the mohawk thing. Yeah, you. Here you go. All right. The mohawk paid off.
I need a Sharpie.
Oh, down here.
If there were no Sharpies, the whole comic book business would collapse. Thank you.
Go ahead, buddy.
Love my Sharpies.
I can't hear you. Yell it out. Still can't hear you. I'm so
Will there
sorry.
be another book in the Zodiac series?
Will there be another book in the Zodiac series?
Absolutely, it's in the works now. Did you like the first one?
There you go. He liked
Better
it, yes.
say yes or...
Yeah, he did. He did. All right. So there'll be another one coming. Okay, let's go. Yeah, young lady right here.
what are your thoughts about Agent Carter? Do you have any big plans for Peggy coming up?
What are your thoughts on Agent Carter? Do you have any plans for Peggy coming up? So, like,
No, I don't have anything to do with the show, so I don't have any plans, but I love the show, and I did a is that what you said? Do I have any cameos?
Yeah. No, not cameos,
No.
but that's a
But
good question, right?
I do hope they give me another cameo.
It's a love scene. Isn't there a love
because
scene?
the girl that plays... Well, anyway, it's very nice.
There's no love scene with you and Agent Carter?
That's the only thing that bothers me. I never get a love scene. What's the matter with those directors?
They're not thinking. Yes.
Do we start? I start now with the signing, so I have to
Yeah,
put the microphone
we're gonna
down.
multitask. We're gonna keep it
It'll be
somewhat
very
interesting.
difficult to sign with the microphone down, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay. So my question, talking about revisiting his past
how do you feel being quoted by the Supreme Court of the United States?
Okay.
That's a good one.
Good question.
I can tell you that because I was there when he found out. I'll let him.
What was the question?
He wants to know how do you feel about you being quoted by the Supreme Court when they quoted you?
Oh, they quote me very often. Before they make any decisions, they always call me. No, I was really impressed with their judgment. That they had sense enough to refer to one of my stories. I think I just tore the cover.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
It's a collector's item. I tore the cover.
Don't worry, it's only FF number 1. We'll get number 1. You guys think I'm kidding? Okay. In the right here, this guy right here, little guy. It's a good one. If Stan could be any superhero he created, who can he be? I think he's already Mr. Fantastic, but we'll check with him for a second. Stan, he wants to know if you could be any superhero, who would you be out of the ones you created?
Iron Man.
There you go. Okay.
He's rich and the women love him. What more could you want?
There you go. Got me there. Let's go all the way in the back. Spider-Man, all the way in the back.
If you had a favorite Shakespeare play or character, what would it be?
Okay. Stan, if you had a Shakespeare character, who would you want to be? Shakespeare.
I'd want to be Brutus in Julius Caesar. He made a great speech.
There you go. There you go. Good answer. Good answer. I'm gonna go to you right here.
No, wait a minute. No, I want to be Mark Antony. Brutus made a great speech, but they kill him.
There you go. Yeah.
Since he no longer has creative control of a lot of the characters, what is his thoughts on them changing the characters created, like Doc Octopus being put in part?
Right. Okay. Give it a second. We got to.
You never say either one. You ask the young lady what her preference is. Sit over there.
Wait. Turn around. Yeah.
The other way around.
Okay, now there you came in handy. I'm not answering
That's all
anything.
right. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you right now. How do you feel about when they make the movies, when they change the characters a little bit from when you did it, in the movies? How do you feel about that?
Well, if they want to deviate from perfection, that's their... No, I don't mind. They feel they have to keep surprising the audience all the time.
Yes.
To
Sometimes
give,
it
to
works.
give the public something to argue about, and it keeps the show and the movie in the public eye.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's
I
a good
agree.
idea.
I agree. It keeps it fresh sometimes. But as we all know, the standards always work. The classics always work. It's just whoever's handling it sometimes feels like they have to handle it a little more than the last guy. That's what sometimes happens. Right straight ahead in the green shirt. Yeah, you're right there. Yeah.
So, Stan, I have your book, How to Draw Like Stanley, and I want to be a comic book artist. I hope to work for Marvel when I get big. So, what would you have to say to me, like, to
Beyond the book, what to do? Okay. He has the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
Great book.
What we tell him to do past the book, man. Meaning what should he do beyond the book?
Oh, once you've read the book, you'll be such a good artist that you just go up to the art director at Marvel, show him your work, and he'll hire you.
Yeah. And
No, seriously, I don't know what to tell you to do after that. The only thing you can do, really, is to show your artwork. You do a few pages of a strip, make up your own characters, or do a few pages based on Marvel characters. Do them as best as you can, and then get them to a Marvel editor. Either go to the office or send it to them and say, look, I'm available, can you use me? And if your artwork really excites the guy, he'll hire you. There's no guarantee and there's no shortcut, and that's really about the only way to do it.
Right. I will suggest that rather than, if you're gonna do sample pages, do 3 or 4. Make sure that you have stuff that's not always the characters hitting or blowing up or doing stuff. They wanna see how you draw backgrounds. They wanna see how you draw buildings. They wanna see how you draw 2 characters interacting. They wanna see what the characters look like out of the suit. So people in regular clothing. I remember one time in Marvel, they was like, can you draw a bus stop full of people? And all I've been drawing is Spider-Man swinging, and you have to draw regular people at a bus stop. So comic books, it's funny because as an art form, we looked at it, we in this room look at it as the coolest thing on earth. But out there, people go, oh, you do comics, it's not that hard, anybody can do that. And I say, it's probably the hardest thing to do is draw comics, more than fine art, more than anything, because you have to draw everything. You have to draw people, gestures, people, places, and things. You have to be able to draw every kind of car and every kind of building and, everything. So I would say, honestly, look at comics for inspiration. Use models when you can. Take art classes. It's very important to learn how to draw the human anatomy, how people, look at Chuck Jones, how he draws a character's face, so simple, but gets across an expression. So when you do your samples, make sure you have a little bit of everything in them, and that'll get you a job quicker than if you just have 2 characters hitting each other. That only goes so far. You need to draw everything. This is a comic that, comics are about storytelling, and storytelling is about being able to show expressions and get a story across in panels. So.
And nobody could have given you information better than Jimmy Palmiotti.
There you
Thank
go.
you. That was a really good.
And show me your stuff. That's all. Go to the cons and show your stuff. Yes, right here on the aisle. Yep, you. Yep.
Growing up, I always identified Stan with J. Jonah Jameson. I was wondering which one of the characters he created he most put his own personality into.
Okay. So growing up, he's always said that you reminded him of J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man.
I modeled J. Jonah Jameson after me.
Right. So that pretty much answers your question. That's right? Absolutely, I see it. It's great.
He's the way I would be if I were a newspaper editor. Only I'd be tougher.
In the glasses, yeah. Yes.
Mr. Lee, who is your favorite comic book character that you created and why?
Okay. I know what he's going to say because it's hard to play favorites, right? But we're going to say, the young man's asking, what's your favorite character you created? Your favorite?
Well, I usually say Spider-Man because that's what everybody expects me to say, but I really love them all the same way. I love Irving Porbush as much as any of them.
There you go. Dr. Strange, yes.
Jean Grey is probably my favorite X-Men. It makes me sad that she's still buff all the time. Do you think in the future there's any time where she'll be permanently revived and just stay alive?
Oh, so the question, the question is, she loves Jean Grey, but they keep killing her off in the comics. So she wants to know if there's any way there's going to stay alive. I'm going to answer a little bit of it, but we're saying that she keeps coming back means you should worry less about her being killed, I guess, in a way, right? As long as it sells books, they're going to do it, and then let's see what Stan has to say about it, okay? Because I know Stan, she says her favorite character is Jean Grey from the X-Men, but they keep killing her and they keep bringing her back. Is there any time we can just leave her alone?
You mean leave her dead or
leave her dead?
alive?
I think leave her alive, maybe.
I really don't know. I'm not the editor of the book anymore, so I can't tell them what to do.
Yes.
But the next time I'm talking to them, I'll mention what you said. I don't think she should be killed and come back and be killed and come back to it. But it's a little bit unrealistic. And we strive for absolute realism.
Okay. The Black Glove. I don't know what I can't see what your costume is. Oh, there you go. Black Panther without his mask on. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what was the inspiration behind the Black Panther character?
Good question. Good question. What was the inspiration behind having the Black Panther character?
I wanted to do a black hero, but I didn't want to make him the way everybody would expect. I thought it would be fun to let him be in Africa, and it looks like he's the chief of a tribe of typical African natives with thatch huts and so forth. But nobody realized that underneath the ground was the most modern city with the most scientific developments, and he was one of the greatest scientists. I thought that would really surprise people and give a new twist to using a black character.
Yeah,
so
that's
he's one of my favorites. I can't wait till they do the Black Panther movie.
That's right, that's right. And that was in the 60s, man. Think about it. Stan was way ahead of everything, as always. We know that about him. Okay, let's go. Yeah, right there.
Off topic. I noticed he has a wedding band on, but we never
Yes.
hear about Mrs. Lee.
Oh, she's always around.
Yeah, why are you? Cause are you single? Is that what you're asking? No. She wants to know. She says she noticed you have a wedding band, but you never talk about your wife.
If I start talking about my wife, I'll never stop. She's the greatest female human being there is on the face of the earth. I'll just tell you how I met her. When I was a kid, very young, I wanted to do cartoons, and like most artists, I drew my version of what the most beautiful girl in the world would look like. I was always drawing that particular face and figure. And one day, a friend of mine got me a blind date with a gal who worked at a model agency. This was right after I came out of the Army, and I was in the mood to meet a beautiful model. So I went up to the agency, and this girl opened the door. And it wasn't the girl I was supposed to meet. This was the head model who opened the door for me. And I looked at her, and it was the girl I had been drawing pictures of all my life. And on top of which, she had an English accent. She was English. And I'm a real sucker for an English accent. And she said something like, "May I help you?" And I looked at her, and I think the next thing I said was, "I love you." Anyway, we got married shortly after that. Someday I'll write a book about it.
Scarlet Witch.
If you had to pick a Marvel character to feature in a Marvel movie, like the newest one, that hasn't featured in a Marvel movie before, who would that be?
If you had to pick one character that hasn't had a movie yet, which character would you want to have in a movie?
Who hasn't had a movie?
Yeah.
I can't think of any that haven't had a movie.
Black Widow, Moon Knight. Well, thinking about it, Stan.
Submariner.
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 There you go. Submariner versus Aquaman.
I'll tell you a funny thing also about my wife.
You started.
One day she said to me, "I want to write a novel." I said, "What are you talking about? You're not a writer." She said, "I want to write a novel." So I got her a bunch of paper and some pencils, and I said, "Here, write it." About a month later, she gives me all these pages written on. I couldn't read it. I gave it to a typist who typed it up. And I sent it to an agent I know, and I said, "Look, she's my wife. I love her. She spent a month on it. Let her down easily." He called me the next day. He said, "I love it. It's great." And it was published by Dell Books. It was called The Pleasure Palace. It was the lead book that month. My wife, the first thing she wrote became a lead book at Dell Books. So thank God she didn't do more writing, or she'd be up here and I'd be home. I'll think of other things to tell you about her as we move along.
Right. Let's, right there right here. Yep, you. Yes.
Not me.
Okay.
Hi there.
How does Hulk keep his pants up?
Well, you see, when he becomes the Hulk, he becomes so big that the pants are tight against him and they couldn't fall down. I never really thought about that.
Let's go. Yes, in the black. Yep.
Mr. Lee, were any of your experiences in World War II inspirations for the Howling Commandos?
No, I wish I could say they were, but they weren't. I didn't do much howling, and I spent most of my time writing training films for the Army and rewriting instructional manuals so that the troops could understand them. One of the biggest problems they had to train the troops quickly, and it took a long time to teach them certain things because the manuals were written by scientists and experts, and the troops were just guys like us who didn't know. So I had to take all those things, simplify them, do them in cartoons. I practically won the war single-handed because they learned so quickly thanks to me.
All right, we all learned something today, didn't we? With the red hat, yes.
It's ringing? My phone is talking? I pushed the button and yeah, seriously. I'll never understand things in this world. Everything's
Repeat the second part. I know who's his favorite female character and what else?
Should there be more and can it go further than what?
Okay. Wants to know what's your favorite female character, and do you think there should be more in Marvel?
Oh, in Marvel, I was just going to say, I told you about my favorite female character.
Yeah.
Oh, the more females, the better. I love looking at those pretty pictures of girls. Some of the Marvel books are beginning to look like Playboy if you look at those covers. I love them. What was the question?
That was it. That was pretty. You got that pretty covered there. And have you been reading the books lately? Have you in the last year? I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think as we notice in this room is a little different than it was a couple of years ago, because the percentage of women, a lot more women in the room. It's fantastic. It's great. I love it because I write Harley Quinn, and that has an audience is very female as well. So as this opens up, more female creators are working, and I think the greatest thing is we're starting to get more female writers, and these writers are creating new characters. And you know, so rather than although there's nothing wrong with the old ones, I think getting some new blood in the business, creating new characters is where we're heading, and you know, I'm pretty excited about it.
What are you excited about?
She's excited. Yeah. Oh yeah. Agent Carter. She loves how such a strong character made it to TV in its own series. Right. Thank you. That's a great question. I'm gonna go back there. There's a hand with a yellow sleeve and a blue hand, and I can't see it too well, but there you go.
I know you said you don't like to play favorites, but who would you say your favorite non-Marvel comic book character is?
Ooh, that's one. That one's. I think the answer is Harley Quinn. I don't know. No. Okay, hang on. I want to know who your favorite non-Marvel character is.
You guys.
There you go.
I don't have any favorites if they're not Marvel. I hope the guys back home heard that.
Yeah, right here.
It's going to be in the future of X-Men going to Marvel.
What's that? Is it?
Right now, X-Men's Fox, right? Well,
Right.
X-Men's going to be Wolverine.
Yeah, the goings on of Fox and Marvel and Disney. That's like not, you know, nah, that's not like his thing.
Go get a phone call.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sure it'll all work out, right? Things happen, you know, things change, right? We keep seeing things changing. Yeah, look at Spider-Man, exactly. Right there, yep.
I was wondering if Stan is currently keeping up with any of the current arcs past the stuff that he wrote, and if he has any favorites further down the line.
Are you listening?
Yes, I am. I'm listening. He's asking if you keep up with any of the new comics, the new storylines at Marvel.
Do I keep up with them?
Yeah, I know he's.
No, I can't. I'll tell you another horrible thing about me. Not only is my hearing bad, but my eyesight has gotten terrible.
Right.
And I actually cannot read a comic book. I can't even read a script. I have to have it printed in letters that big. So it takes all the joy of reading comics out, and I don't read them anymore. I just go to conventions and I find out from the fans what's going on.
We got to get nice girl to read it to you at night before you go to bed. You got to get somebody to read it to you before you go to bed. Maybe somebody to read a comic to you.
Not as much fun.
Not as much
You gotta
fun.
read
He's
it
right.
yourself.
You're right. You got it. Comics are the one thing, right? You got to do it yourself. It's not like a
Because
movie.
you gotta see the
it's not like
pictures
a,
with it.
That's right.
You know, people used to say years ago, I don't want my kids reading comics because it's not teaching them to read. They're looking at the pictures and they should just be reading the words. And I often thought, imagine if they said to Shakespeare, you shouldn't put your plays on the stage because we're hearing the words, but we're looking at actors. We don't want to look at actors. It was a crazy argument, and luckily people know better now.
Yeah, the world's changed. Library. How many people have libraries with comic graphic novels in them? Yeah, how great is that? Although you still should buy your own, okay? We got bills too, you know. Let's go.
He does a better job than me. I don't want him here anymore.
Wow. All the way in the back. All the way, your hand's still up. Yeah. Yep, with the black hat. Yep. Yep, that's you. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait. It was not you, but it was this guy with the hat. We'll get right to you after. How about that? Go ahead.
You wanted a collaboration with a Japanese manga artist. The story was called Ultimo, and I want to know what your experience was with that.
How's the experience with Ultimo?
I think Ultimo is a good character.
There you go.
I didn't create him, so I don't know that much about him. It's a great name. Did I create him? I don't think so.
You gotta keep track. Yeah, all the way in the back. I'm sorry. Yep, you. Yep. You know what? Come on up to where the camera is and shoot me again with the question, because I only heard Black Panther part of it.
He usually says that to pretty girls. You better come closer up here.
I look much bigger the closer you get. Go ahead.
I'm saying, with the revisit of all these characters being changed a little bit, will they issue another Black Panther comic? Because I've been.
Will there be another Black Panther comic?
I mean, like I'm 45 years old and I've collected them that long, so
Sure.
I'm like wondering what's going on with that. I know the sister was the Black Panther last. Now I don't. He's Walking Dead. I don't know.
Well, you know, you've lived through generations of Black Panthers.
Father,
I know. I worked on the Marvel Knights one with Priest and Tex and everything.
Right.
I think with the movie, when they start making the movie, I think there'll be another introduction, as there always is with the characters. So, you know, the tough job in comics is we have to keep reintroducing the characters. I know it's annoying sometimes to people, but we have to keep getting the next generation into them. So, at least at the very core of the character, we always keep, you know, he's always the same guy and it's always the same background. But things change and modern, you know, different people write them and introduce new characters. So, you know, I'd love to tell you it's easy to number them from 1 to 100 and it's going to be the same story, but it's going to be a lot of miniseries, and especially how comics are now, you know, we see things rebooted within the same year.
Right.
Which drives people crazy, I know. But it makes retailers happy because people come in and they try it again.
Did I tell you how my wife lost me hundreds of thousands of dollars? Did I tell you that? I'm going to tell you. I wrote all of the Marvel characters, Spider-Man, the Avengers, the X-Men, the Hulk, all of them, on an old typewriter I had. It was called a Remington Noiseless Portable. And I typed all those stories on that typewriter. And I kept that typewriter for years. And years ago, my wife, bless her, was in an argument with me, and she has a violent temper. And she said, "Oh yeah, you think so?" And she looked for something to break. She grabbed the typewriter, threw it on the floor, it broke into a million pieces. I have said to her, whenever I get mad at her, do you realize if you hadn't broken that typewriter, we could auction it off for a fortune, the typewriter on which all those strips were written. I want to give her a guilt feeling, you see. Then she had an idea. She said, wait a minute, why don't we go to an antique store and why don't we buy an old Remington Noiseless Portable and say this is the typewriter? And I said, because I have a big mouth and I've told the story how you broke it. So I'm as dumb as anybody is. Last time I'll mention her, because unless I think of something else.
And I'm sure he will. She-Hulk.
So with a lot of like younger kids starting to get into comics now, do you think like characters like the Young Avengers are gonna get a new series again?
Yeah, I will answer that for Stan. Absolutely. It will. It will happen. You know, it all comes around and goes around. I mean, I know Stan hasn't probably read the Young Avengers, so I'll answer that for you, but it will come around. Nothing goes away. Nothing. I don't know if you guys noticed that. If you, those big white boxes in the comic store that have like 85 miniseries of the same character, but you know, they do come back. A good ideas never go away. You know, so I guarantee you wait it out. We'll see pretty much everything again.
In fact, I'll even come back. You know what they did?
There you go.
They made some company made a.
He's not going to mention the blow-up doll, is he? No. Okay.
Forget what I said. But you'll find out.
The phone didn't ring, so that's why. We can't, there's certain things you can and can't talk, guys, so that's one of the things. But, real quick, remember, hang on, put your hands down. We're going to do something real quick. We have his best friend outside. He doesn't know what's going on. So we're going to bring him in, say hi to Stan, and then we're going to do the happy birthday thing.
Okay.
Ken is out. We'll bring him in. Do I have to say exactly the words you said?
Let's get the typewriter
I'm his
out.
director, too.
Yeah.
Where is he? Where is he?
Okay. There he goes.
Well, I don't see him.
There he goes. Here he is.
Come on, Ken, you're still talking. Where is he? Hey, Ken, how are you? Can we help you? I gotta tell you about this guy. Not everything. You get comfortable, I'm gonna talk about you. I get a rebuttal, right? Yes, you do. This man, whose name is Ken Bald, has been my best friend for 1,000,000 years.
Well,
His wife,
almost 70. We're working on 70.
his wife and my wife have been best friends for 1,000,000 years. He is one of the best artists the world has ever known. He did comics for a while, but they paid him more money to do advertising art and illustration, so we lost him. He was a captain in the Marine Corps. He fought at Iwo Jima and so forth. He's the handsomest guy. I don't know if you remember, there was an actor called Tyrone Power, the handsomest actor you could ever see. He looked like him, but was better looking. I hated him for that. Every time there'd be some girls around, they'd come up to him first. I think they still do.
He had his own.
Anyway, the man is 95 years old now. And I want you to join me in wishing this great guy the happiest birthday of all time.
I will. I want to see you.
I imagine it's like a comic.
Oh,
Kick it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy
birthday, dear Ken. Happy birthday to you.
They expect him to eat it with his fingers. There's no knife. There's no fork. Who's in charge of this? All right. So Ken, tell us all about it.
No, I just want to tell him about the first time I met you. You were the boy wonder of the field.
I still am.
Not the boy, but you're still the wonder. There's no doubt about that. I was listening to your shtick. It was magnificent. Like
The
it's
funny
always
thing
been.
is, he used to have, and still does, but he used to have the greatest head of hair you ever saw. His last name is Bald. So when I once said to him, I envy your hair, he said, imagine if I didn't have any with a name like Bald, the ribbing I would get. So it's a good thing.
That's
He's
a
still got
good thing.
great
Yeah.
head of hair.
Well, it's going now. It's graying in. It's going, but it's still.
Where is Mrs. Bald? Kay?
Kay is home. Kay
Oh,
is.
she didn't come with you?
No, she didn't. This is what she's having some difficulty walking right now,
Well, I hope she's on the phone with Joni.
She sends her love, and she probably will be talking to Joni. I thought this was going to be a surprise for you. There's no surprise when you give me your
No,
birthday
the
cake.
surprise is supposed to be for you, not me.
Oh, well, that's all it was.
He doesn't understand things very
No,
well.
I
didn't know.
I know that my age you're not supposed to anyway. You're not expected to anyway. Anyway, he does say the truth when we have been best friends. I went in right after I got back from the Marine Corps, and my portfolio, I went to see the boy wonder, and he gave me work, but what he did do, he gave me friendship for a complete lifetime, and that's what I'm
Do that little book about Marvel. There's a little pamphlet or something that you put together.
Well, you wrote it, and I did a little thing, the history.
You did illustrations.
Something behind, yeah, behind.
I forget what it was, but it was a great book, and you did it.
And we sold it for $1 a copy.
Should have sold it for more. Yeah.
But anyway, yes,
The awful thing about it, Ken lives in New Jersey. I live in California. My best friend, and we're 3,000 miles. When's the last time I saw you? It was at another convention.
Yes, it was at the one in New York. Yes, the one in New York.
What was that, about 3 years ago? Yeah.
Yes, it was, yeah. But I hadn't seen him for years before that.
But boy, you should see his artwork. There was a very popular television series called Dark
Shadows.
Dark Shadows about vampires. And Ken used to illustrate that. Was it for King Features?
No, that wasn't King. That was Dan Curtis. NEA did that.
Well,
King
whichever
Features did
syndicate,
Dr.
it was a
Kildare.
great strip. And I still have one of your originals hanging in my room.
Okay.
And you could have given me more than one, but all right.
You could have had it all. Oh, you've got it all.
And he does paintings, and you really should pay a little more attention to comic strips instead of. He wants to be Michelangelo and probably paints as good as him too.
No. Right now, all I'm doing is your superheroes.
But boy, to me, you've always been a superhero. The greatest artist I know, a war hero, and too damn good-looking for your own good. I'm so glad you came, Kenny. What a surprise.
Yeah, I've got my wheelchair outside.
That's
I was
okay.
going to come in
At
with that, but-
95, you're entitled. You're not a young, spry 92 like me.
Well, you really do get around.
Oh, I get around, yeah. I got my bodyguard with me.
Piggyback ride, don't you?
I can't see anything and I can't hear anything, but I get around. I never know where I am, but I'm around.
You're
All right,
fabulous.
if you have any questions to ask about comics, we'll let Ken answer them.
That's right.
He'll have to make it up because he doesn't know a damn thing about it.
I really don't. I haven't, not for a long time.
Ask him about painting. What do you want to say? You're about to tell me something.
What we gotta do is get back to starting. We're gonna arrange something later on for you and Ken to get together.
Oh, I hope you're going to have dinner with me, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh,
We're gonna
that's
go
great.
out drinking.
Who's paying for it?
Yeah, I'll pay
All
for it.
right.
Sure, why not? You're not gonna see him tomorrow, though. We're gonna be sleeping late. I'm telling you.
We used to have lunch every Tuesday when he lived in New York City. And I missed it when he moved to L.A., but we used to go out there every February, it seemed to me, and stay with Stan and Joan, Kay and I, until the knees gave up. And
One thing I'll always remember, Ken's wife and my wife, his wife Kay, she once sang with Frank Sinatra. She was an actress in some good movies, and she and my wife were as close friends as Ken and I are. And one day, I don't remember what happened, but there was some reason that they were sad about something, and there was one reason we wanted to make them feel better. And we bought them each a fur coat, a little mink coat, big mink coat. And I'll never forget, after they got the mink coats, the four of us took a walk down Fifth Avenue in New York. And Kay and Joan were walking ahead of us with those two big coats. You almost couldn't see the girls, the coats were so big. Ken and I were behind them. And I'll never forget, we were joking and kidding. Look at our wives with those mink coats. They forgot we're here. They're just talking and walking. And we were watching those coats move down the street. That was a memory I will never forget.
Well, I remember they both facing each other, walking this way, but their faces this way. And both their mouths are going. And
at the same time, they never stopped talking.
And who's doing the listening there, you know?
No, they don't listen, they just talk.
Everybody, a hand for Ken?
Yeah, I don't know.
Thank you, Ken. See, I never think I'm going to live that long, but damn. All right, thank you, Ken. That's great.
Another thing I hate about him, he was in the Marines, I was in the Signal Corps. I wanted to be a Marine.
I like that they took the cake away from us. You notice they took the cake away? No, it's I'm kidding.
What? I thought that's supposed to be dessert. We haven't eaten yet.
No, we haven't eaten anything.
Are we still doing this?
Okay. I got a question behind the right, yeah, in purple, yep.
Are you answering questions?
Yeah, I'm fielding them.
I mean, are they asking you?
Yes.
It's not so much a question for Stan, but I wanted to thank him for writing such inspirational stuff that has provided so much courage for everybody throughout the years since he started doing this. He also inspired me to ask the most important question a man can ever ask.
Uh-oh. Oh, he's getting...
I hope she said yes.
She did. Yep.
Don't let her break your typewriter.
I don't have one. I've got a computer.
Congratulations, guys. That's awesome.
Good luck.
Think of all the white boxes that are now going to come together and make one giant room of white boxes. It's fantastic. Right here with the angel share. Stan, who was your role model growing up?
I think actually Errol Flynn. He was the actor I most admired. He played Robin Hood, he played Captain Blood, he was in westerns. He was always rescuing women. When I was about 12 years old, I would leave a theater that had an Errol Flynn movie, and I had an imaginary sword at my side, and I'd be looking for some bully that's picking on a girl so I could go to her defense, all on account of Errol Flynn. So I guess he's the guy.
All right. And you can look up who Errol Flynn is. I'll give you something to, that's what that Google's for. Okay? All right. Yeah, right here.
I have 2 questions.
Uh-oh. 2 questions. Are you 2 people? No. All right, go ahead. Lay it on.
1, what inspired you to make Captain Marvel?
Well, Stan didn't create Captain America. Stan actually, so, what's that? He brought him back. They did bring him back. So, Captain America. They did bring him back. What was the second question? Maybe we get lightning with that one.
Since I'm a young guy and I really want to work for Marvel, what would I do?
Well, I'm gonna help out with that. So he's a young guy and he wants to work at Marvel, but he says, what will he do? Now that's a loaded question because what do you like to do?
Draw.
You like to draw. Okay, so do you practice
Call
drawing?
the guys at Marvel, and when are you going to be up there? When are you arriving?
You just have to. Are you practicing a lot? You working? You showing your pages around? You bring them to the convention and show some of the artists. All right. I mean, you're on your way. You taking their advice? So how old are you?
12.
12. Think about how many years you got ahead of you that you can. And you feel you're good enough to now to work for Marvel, or you think you still need to get a little better? What do you think? You both? So you think you're good enough to work, but you still can get better. That's good. All right. Well, then you should just show your stuff around the show because there's all different artists here. They can give you some advice. This is the great thing about going to a convention. You got a lot of guys like us sitting there willing to help you. You know, just we'll look at your work, give you some constructive advice. And like Stan says, there's a point where you're going to say, all right, I want to send it to Marvel. I always say, find the editors at the convention. If you can't find the editors, put your work online, build a website, show your work off, you know, and then find out who, I think Marvel has a submissions page on their website and send them some JPEGs of your work. Don't be afraid. Even if it comes back rejected, you know that you have to just keep working. The trick is, in this life, especially with artists, writers, anybody doing anything, is not to quit, okay? Because people quit all the time, and I always say, people that quit make room for me to keep going. You know, they move out of the way and I keep going. So you're at a point where, you know, you're always gonna need to learn, but I think at this point, just go get it done, show it out there, get some feedback, and keep drawing. You're 12 years old, that's awesome. Imagine you're working at 16, right? How cool would that be? So just keep at it, okay?
You know, Jimmy you do a good job, Jimmy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stan. Appreciate that.
He does. He's my favorite guy to be on a platform with.
Thank you. Thank you. See what he said?
Well, I have to be with him. I mean, that's a whole different.
All right, let's go over here. Yes. Yeah.
What is the driving force behind the new Ms. Marvel?
Oh, well, you know, that's like out of his roadhouse a little bit, right? It's a little like the driving force. I would guess at Marvel is, you know, new characters, you meet and new audiences and finding a new audience. I think she wanted to know the driving force behind Ms. Marvel, but you don't really, you know, that's new. Yeah, it doesn't follow. Stan doesn't follow it. Yeah. So, you know, like you said, it's a little hard to read, a little hard to keep up. But what do you think it is?
Too long of an answer to say here.
Okay. Do you think, I mean, but it's a positive step, don't you think? Yeah, I mean, it's a terrific book.
And it's making a definite effort to reach out, especially towards women and young women.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and you know, there's so much talent out there. And the cool thing is, like I said, in the last 5 years even, where just new voices, new characters, new voices, new takes on characters, such as Captain Marvel. So it's an exciting time. So I agree with you. It's a great book. We all buy it, right? A lot of people buy Captain Marvel now? That's right. That's right. Come on. Come on, make some noise. All right, Max is going to take over me. I'm going to...
Tell us that you're doing such a good job.
All right, well, yeah, we'll give Max a shot. That's great. I'm going to ask one more question, then Max is going to take over, and I'm going to go with, I see you right over there. Come on, go ahead.
I really love the X-Men, and I'm just curious on Magneto. Is his origins of Gypsy heritage or Jewish heritage?
Ooh. Okay. Or Gypsy background or Jewish?
I think we'd have to figure he's Jewish.
Okay, yeah. Maybe they have, you know, mixed, right? You never know. There you go, there you go. Good question, though. Hey, listen, I'm going to cut out, guys, but Max is going to continue. Thanks, everybody. And,
Sorry, now you're stuck with Max Anderson. Make the best of it.
See, there's a difference. Did he leave? See, Jimmy talks. He did leave, right? But I'm the giver. I told you we were giving away prizes, right? Well, then if you want Jimmy back, I'll bring him back. No problem. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna play. Let's play a game. What? We're gonna play a game, Stan. We always do that. Okay, we're gonna take some. Let's see. This is for. I'm not singling people out, but I'm gonna go with one of my favorite characters. Anybody. It's got to be exactly what I'm asking. Anybody wearing anything related to Spider-Man, stand up.
Who's wearing what?
Ooh, I like it. I like it. Okay, now we're better. Anything related to Spider-Man. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Now, we're going to go a little further. That anybody having a Marvel tattoo, stand up. Everybody else sits down. Ooh, we still got a couple Marvel tattoo guys. Put your hands up. Ooh, excellent. I like that. I like it.
Good or bad?
That's good. Now, don't sit down if you don't have it. I just want to ask. But whoever has a Stan Lee tattoo, raise your hand. Oh man, that's terrible. That's terrible. We're close. Okay, so you guys, the guys are still staying with the tattoo, a Marvel tattoo.
Don't give them any ideas.
No, it's too late. Okay, here's a question. You gotta. No, if it's his wife, I gotta answer. Okay, here's the question. And it's a two-parter. How long has Stan Lee been married, and what's the name of his daughter? Oh, come on. If you guys don't know, it's going to go to the crowd. Okay, I'll give it another second. Going. Who knows? No, I'm asking if they know, but okay, gone.
Dave knows.
Now we're changing it because it doesn't count no more. Now, here's the better one. And he said it earlier, and you got to raise your hand. Don't yell it out. How long has Stan been married? The guy with the glasses right here.
68 years?
No. Strike one.
65.
Strike two.
70.
Strike three. One more, and then the question's gone. Let's go with the young lady.
72.
Nope. 63. 63. No, it's
What's
okay.
the answer? And what was the answer? 63. No, 66.
I didn't know. 66. But see, no.
63. We're not newlyweds.
They act like it. Okay, 66. Okay, let's go to a different question here. Let's see. Let me think. I gotta think of something here. Something quick. Oh, here's one. This is a good one. And think about it before you answer. What was Stan's non-superhero role in a movie versus, it could be a cameo or a role, and it's nothing to do with Kevin Smith. Okay, let's go with the guy right there with the glasses. Yeah.
Princess Diaries 2.
Yes! Yes!
My non-superhero cameo, what was that?
Princess Diaries 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, with my co-star, what was her name?
Oh, that
Julie Andrews?
Julie Andrews, yeah.
My
Come up here, buddy.
co-star.
He gets a Stan Lee now. Okay, no worries. Now we'll go with another one here. Let's see. I gotta think of something because it's hard with you guys because you guys are pretty good. Obviously, I'm not that good. Oh, here's one. Let's see. Okay, listen to the question, and if you know the answer, just pick up your hand because I'm gonna build the scene up.
Say it so I can hear it. Say it so I can understand.
Okay. He's sitting on a bench. He's in the city, and he calls somebody, "You moron." Where's it from? The guy in the back with the hand up.
Mallrats?
No. I'm gonna take 2 more chances, then I'm gonna throw it out. The little dude right here. Close, but who is the guy he's saying it to?
The reporter.
No. Oh, close. Close. Okay, I'm gonna take that person back there.
Captain America.
Yep, there you go. It was a deleted scene, if you guys saw it. What he does, Steve Rogers is drawing Stark Towers, and then you're sitting right next to him. Behind him, the girl's flirting with him, and Steve Rogers is out of place. And then Stan.
Oh, that was my cameo that they did. Oh, yeah.
And then what happened? So you guys will know I'm leading up to it. Then he turns around. The girl says, basically, hey, call me or something like that. And Steve Rogers looks like, what is she doing? Is she doing something? And he turns around and says, ask for her number, you moron. That was the original cameo for him. But the reason it never made it into the movie, New York is a very tough place. And that's the only place that I know is that the paparazzis have so much freedom. What happened is that if you're shooting in a public street, it's public domain. You can be out there photographing whatever. They can't block you, they can't cover it up. And so when Stan was doing that cameo, there was paparazzis everywhere. They were shooting Cap Stanley, and it came out right away. I mean, we weren't even 10 minutes on the set, and it was already being shot all over. Stanley shooting cameo with Chris Evans, and that's why it never was made. Then we did the backup cameo, which anybody knows?
It was really a good cameo because I'm saying to Captain America, in essence, ask her for her name and number, dummy.
Moron. There's a moron. Anyway, okay, we're gonna take some questions. We'll get back to some things. Okay, guy in the hat, the green, the red glasses. Yeah.
So as editor at Marvel, you must have had to put the kibosh or act some pretty weird stuff out there. Does any of these stories or anything you can tell us?
Stan, as the editor at Marvel at the time, when you were the editor at Marvel at the time, was there any stories that you looked at and you said, no, this isn't happening?
Oh, there were a lot of stories that I wouldn't okay that other writers did.
Like funny ones.
Is there one that stands out?
No, I don't. Anything that's bad doesn't stick in my mind. I only remember the good stuff.
Okay, next question. The green.
I was just wondering.
Very often I would reject a story if the characters themselves weren't interesting, even if there were a lot of fight scenes and so forth, but if the characterization wasn't delineated the right way, it's possible to write characters that nobody cares about, and that's what you don't want to do. So any writer who'd come in with a story where the character could have been anybody, it didn't matter, it was just the action that mattered, and those were the ones that I would reject.
Okay, buddy.
Okay. I was wondering if you have any advice for aspiring writers, since you're one of the best writers ever.
Yeah.
That's a good one, but I know the answer to that one. Hey, Stan.
Yeah.
He's asking, what advice can you give to an aspiring writer?
That's as tough as what advice to give to an artist. In fact, it's even tougher. Comics have become so important now that some really big professional writers are starting to write comics. People who have written novels, people who have had stories published in other magazines, not comic books, but real magazines. And the competition is really tough. The best suggestion I could give you would be to sell something somewhere else. If you could sell a book, if you could sell a story to some other magazine, something that you could show the editor at Marvel, look, I'm a professional writer. This is what I've written. Now I'd like to write comics. But if you're just somebody who comes up to the office and says, hey, I want to write comics, I have an idea, the chances are they've got all the writers they need, unless you come up with a really great idea for the characters that they haven't thought of. But then they might want to buy your idea and give it to one of their regular writers. It's really difficult. I wish Jimmy was here. He could answer that better than I am. But probably the first thing to do would be to pick up the phone and phone Marvel and ask to speak to whichever editor you think you like his work the best. And say, my name is so-and-so, I'd like to write comics. What is it you suggest I do? And see what he says, because maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe he'll say, well, we're looking for somebody, come on up and see me and I'll talk to you. But I tell you, it is very difficult now, if you're not already a professional writer, to get into the comics as a writer.
I asked that question, Stan, years ago, and he gave me a different answer, and I'll give you the answer he gave me. Chances are, like he said, there's hundreds and thousands of writers out there. But I'm giving the advice that you gave me years ago about writing.
What did I say?
What you said is that when you write a story that you like, that you would enjoy reading, because chances are there's a lot more people out there that'll like what you write. Don't write what everybody's into, like, you know, let's just say vampires this year, the next year it's, you know, Halo or something, but write something that you like. And chances are somebody will like what you do, and it can spiral from there. But that's what he gave me, and it kind of worked. Mr. Spidey.
My question was, did Stan envision when he created Spider-Man to where Spider-Man has gone now, where he's almost becoming Iron Man, in rumors, I guess?
You what?
Like, did Stan envision Spider-Man to where Spider-Man has become, you know, a big, multi-million-dollar man? He's almost becoming Iron Man.
Stan, did you ever imagine Spider-Man being so big how he is now?
I'm sorry, Stan.
Did you ever imagine how big Spider-Man is, how he is right now?
When we started Spider-Man, we had no idea. In fact, I'm going to tell you the story of how Spider-Man started, if you haven't heard it. I had already done the Fantastic Four, and I think either the X-Men or the Hulk or something, and my publisher said, come up with something else. I want another superhero. So I went home and I tried to think of something else. And I saw a fly crawling on the wall. And I thought, boy, wouldn't it be cool to have a hero like an insect who could crawl on walls or stick to the ceiling. No, I'm not telling the truth. I probably didn't say, wouldn't it be cool? In those days, I probably said, wouldn't it be groovy? But you get the idea. And I finally thought, that's what I'll do. So I tried to get a name. And I thought Insect Man didn't sound good. Mosquito Man, I don't know. I went down the list and I got to Spider Man. And it sounded kind of mysterious and dramatic. And I thought I'd make him a teenager so that the teenage readers could relate to him. And then to make it more fun, I thought I'd give him a lot of personal problems. He didn't have a girlfriend in the beginning. He didn't have enough money. He worried about his aunt. I thought that was a good idea. So I brought it to my publisher and I told him. And my publisher, in his wisdom, said to me, that is the worst idea I have ever heard. He said, first of all, people hate spiders, so you can't call a hero Spider-Man. He said, next, I don't know where to sign this. Where?
Right there.
All right. He said, you can't make him a teenager. A teenager can only be a sidekick. And you want him to have problems? Stan. Superheroes don't have problems. That's why they're superheroes. So I left the office with my tail between my legs. I was really brokenhearted. But we had a book that we were about to kill called Amazing Fantasy. And when you're going to kill a book, nobody cares what you put in the last issue. So just to get it out of my system, I put a Spider-Man story in Amazing Fantasy and featured it on the cover and forgot about it. A month later, when the sales figures came in, Amazing Fantasy had been our best-selling book with Spider-Man on the cover. So my publisher called me into the office and he said, "Stan, do you remember that character of yours, Spider-Man, that we both loved so much?" I swear. He said, "Let's make him a series." And that's how Spidey was born.
Hey guys, I'm going to change it up a little bit to make it go faster, if it's okay with you folks. Where we stopped, where did we stop at?
Part of the separation
Where?
here, and we're getting ready to start on.
Okay, so what we're going to do is to make it a little quicker, guys, if we please, in an orderly fashion, where we're stopping at.
Can't hear a word this guy is saying.
I always mess with them like this. If we can, the row that's supposed to be coming up next, just come up this side and just make your way back into your row, just like that. Bring your item, and we can move it around
What
like
are
that.
you
a lot quicker.
poking your finger in my face about?
No, like this. It was like this.
I think you've been out in the heat too long.
Oh my God. So if you guys can, wherever the rows next, start up, bring them by. And
Anybody know Jimmy Palmiotti's phone number?
No,
so
no,
we can
no.
get him back?
So, Kirby, go ahead, start it up over there, and I'll take her right here. Yeah, finish these off, please.
What do we do?
We're finishing off. So make it a little quicker. Go ahead, buddy.
Is there a particular comic or story that Stan has ever turned away that's become popular?
Ooh. Hey, Stan, is there a story or a comic that you turned away that became popular? And you're like, oh, you're the best.
Is there something I turned away that became popular?
Yes.
No. No, seriously, I can't think of anything. Mostly, I was writing most of them myself, and I never turned away one of my stories.
Okay, the guy right here, the Captain America shirt. Oh, the comic. You know what? I can answer that. Yeah, there will be. That will be. How about you, my man?
Why is Captain, the original Captain Marvel, never come back?
He wants to know why the original Captain Marvel doesn't come back.
Why the original Captain Marvel?
Has not come back.
You mean Fawcett's or ours?
Ours.
I don't know. I have no idea. Isn't he back?
No, he. You're talking about the one that died with cancer, right? That's a question. I mean, sometimes his answer sometimes on that is whoever the writer is. I mean, you see, obviously we believe Bucky was dead for years. Blue Baker comes in, next thing you know, he's alive. You know, Winter Soldier. How about you, my man?
I like Captain Marvel. What happened was we got the rights to the name legally somehow or other.
Yeah.
From Fawcett originally had the name.
Yep.
And when we could get the name, I said, great, we'll make up a character called Captain Marvel. And I think I wrote the first one. And I liked him. But I think shortly thereafter, I gave up being the editor and working in the office. And apparently nobody else followed up on it. They never made a series with
Well,
him.
they did. They did. What happened?
But what happened?
In the 80s, they gave him cancer and they killed him off.
Oh.
But then they
I
brought
should have written them all.
They brought him back in. How
Could
about
have been
you,
a
buddy?
good character.
You in the hat.
I got a question. I was wondering what prompted Stan to bring Captain America back to the Avengers issue 4?
What made you bring Captain America back to?
I always loved the character. When I first started working there, that was the character that was the big character. Simon and Kirby were doing it. And I thought they did a wonderful job. It was brilliant the way they created that character. But then, when they left, other people started drawing it, and I didn't like the way it was drawn, and we finally killed it. But years later, when we started Marvel, I remembered how much I had loved Captain America, and I felt if we give him a real good personality and make him feel like an anachronism, somebody who he's used to having lived in the past during World War II, And suddenly we're in the present with hippies and drug problems and things like that. And he has to learn to cope with that while he's fighting supervillains. I thought we could make him a really interesting character. So I brought him back and I tried to write the first few stories. And I'm happy to say he caught on. He's now one of our most popular characters. So that's good. Cool. He's a great character. And the funny thing is, with a name like Captain America, he is just as popular overseas in other countries. You wouldn't think so, but they love him everywhere.
Throughout the history of all the characters you created, was there any specific story or direction that you didn't like?
About the character. You're talking about the movies, or are you talking about the book?
The comics, movies?
Current story, or?
Current, yeah. Since he stepped down as
I can answer. He hasn't followed comics, to be honest with you. He does more production, TV production, films, with his company called Powell Entertainment. He hasn't followed comic books so much because his time is occupied writing these treatments for movies. So that basically, the only time he hears it, and to be honest with you, is when they tell him, like in the last convention, they tell him, hey, what do you think of, the female Thor? And he was like, hey, I didn't know there was one. But yeah, that's his time is occupied on that. He loves the books, but every now and then he'll look at it, glance through it, but that's as far as it goes. Yes, sir.
Will any other version of Spider-Man be besides
Wait and see. Wait and see. How about the guy in the green, something back there?
If Hollywood were to do a movie based on your life, what would you want your cameo to be?
His? Mine? His? That's. I gotta ask you.
He moves the mic.
I wasn't sure.
I'm not allowed to say who the actor is, but believe it or not, he's a very big star today. And he's been talking to me about wanting to do a movie of my life. I said, well, I don't know if you're right. I said, I don't know, Clark Gable is dead and Cary Grant is dead, and I don't know who could really play me. But they're thinking about it. But I don't know if you heard Simon & Schuster, the book publisher, they're doing a book about my life. It's done like a graphic novel. It's in comic book form, but it's going to be a hardcover book. I think it comes out the end of this year.
This fall it comes out.
So you'll learn a lot more about me than you really care about. I think it's got some funny name like incredible, magnificent, fantastic, 3 words like that. That's the title of the book. Obviously referring to me, I guess. So that's coming up. But the movie, I can't tell you any more about it until it becomes more definite. And until they find an actor who's good looking enough, of course, to play the role. Did I sign that?
Okay. We're sticking on this side for right now, guys. I'll get it to you guys in a moment. I just want to kind of work on these guys. How about the guy in the blue right there? Yes, sir.
Were there any characters that he pitched way back in the day that didn't make it to fruition?
Not easy. Stan, were there any characters that you pitched that never made it up to onto a comic book page?
Any characters I did that didn't become successful?
Didn't make, yes.
That didn't make what?
Didn't get into a comic book. Like you create, let's say,
No. They all became comic book characters, and they all became movies.
Okay, let's go way in the back with that person with the something in his hand, a hat, I think.
Yeah, I know it wasn't your intention to fill out Gwen Stacy because I know you talked about that. What would you have done with Gwen Stacy's character? What were your plans for Gwen Stacy?
He's asking, he knows that it wasn't your idea to kill off Gwen Stacy, but what was your idea for Gwen Stacy, from when you left her until death?
I didn't know who Spider-Man, who Peter Parker would end up with. Gwen Stacy was a wonderful, lovely girl, the type of girl that any guy would want to marry. Mary Jane was cool and she was sexy. And I love both of them. And I really don't know if I had continued writing the series, I honestly don't know who he would have ended up with. Maybe I'd have introduced a third girl. He'd have married that one. I don't know. But one thing that bothered me about the movie, the first Spider-Man movie, there was one panel in a comic book about Spider-Man that I loved. It was the last panel. You know, his aunt had been trying to get him to meet Mary Jane, who lived next door, and always said to him, she's a nice girl, you should meet her. Well, to a teenager, when an aunt says she's a nice girl, the teenager doesn't want to meet her. He's not looking for a nice girl. So Peter had to avoid meeting Mary Jane for issue after issue. Finally, in the issue where he met her, the last panel, he goes to the door, she had rung the bell. He opens the door, and there she is, looking gorgeous. And she says, face it, Tiger, you hit the jackpot. And I love that panel, so I don't know why they didn't have that scene in the movie. End of story.
Good one. Hey, and if you guys just listen to that, you remember how he told you how he met his wife? He opened the door. He doesn't realize a lot of the stories that he puts in the books back then kind of entwined his real life. And I tell him sometimes, and he's like, get out of here. What are you talking about? You're not making sense. I go, Stan, how you got Peter Parker to meet Mary Jane, it's the same thing how you met your wife. You know, and then I got his wife to write out, he wrote something about my greatest moment was to meeting Joni. And then Joni, just for the hell of it, go ahead, guy. Just for the hell of it, got that, give it to me, Max. And I go,
did you take my wife's name in vain?
Never. Never. How Joni, I'll say it to you.
All right.
So
I never know what he's talking about.
she gets the piece of what it is. It's a picture. Think of how Peter Parker met Mary Jane, and you know that picture like he's like this, and Mary Jane's looking at him. Well, think of that. J. Scott Campbell made it. He signed it. My greatest moment in my life, meeting my wife. And then she put it on the side, and she says, "You got that right." So it was funny, little things like that. So go ahead, buddy.
Actually, this one's for you. Any crazy fan engagements, like people rushing at Stan that you've encountered, anything like that?
Like fans or anybody?
Fans, like, sorry.
Well, I can answer multiple ones on that one. I'll start with the lease and the, well, they're all the same.
Okay, thank you.
Make sure it's
It was one funny. We were at another convention. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe 2:30 in the morning. He gives me a call, Max, get over here. And I go, what the hell? And I get over there and I show up and I go, what's the problem, Stan? Did you just knock on my door? And I go, no, absolutely not. Why would I knock at your door at 2 in the morning? Somebody was just here. And I go, really? What did they want? They said they wanted to come in and give me a gift. I'm like, who? He goes, it was some beautiful voice. And I'm like, Stan, were you dreaming? And I thought he was dreaming. The following night, it happened again. This time I was awake. It was a bunch of girls that came over that wanted to meet him. And there's like, we're big fans, and this is the only time we'll ever get to meet him. And I'm like, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, we had to work our courage up to come up here, so they had a lot of liquid courage. The funniest one I've ever met is when we went to I don't know if it was the Golden Globes or the Screen Actors Award. We were up at the front. We came with his wife and our little table we had. And we're sitting there, and I said, oh, wow, look, there's George Clooney. Let me go say hi to him. I said, Stan, I'll be right back. And I'm going to where this guy's at right here. And I go, oh, my God, George Clooney. Let me go say hi to the dude. I go walk up to him. I'm literally, like, right about to say hi to him, and this guy just, I'm like, oh, shit. I look, and I go, okay, whatever. And then I like, oh, shit, Brad Pitt. And he goes, are you with Mr. Lee? And I go, yeah. And he goes, do you think I can say hi to him? And I go, yeah. So I walk him over, and all of a sudden Stan's talking to somebody, and I go,
David got such a big laugh.
and so I walk him over, and I'm walking, you know, he's right behind me, and I'm like, yeah, look who's walking with me. And so we get there, and I go, hey, Stan. And he goes, Brad Pitt wants to say hi. And he goes, where's he at? And I go, he's right here. Hey, Brad, blah, 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 saying hi. Okay, so it's like, this is the setup. That's Stan on Brad Pitt. They're like this, right? And they're talking like they're buddies. And I'm over here, and the next thing you know, I see these security guards coming down the steps, and then his wife, Angelina's coming. She comes, parks herself right next to Brad, just like this, and she's just nodding her head, ha, 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 ha. Yes, okay, oh, that's funny, just listening to the story. And all the time she's doing this, yanking on his jacket, just keeps doing that. And he's just like, blah, 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 talking with Stan. I'm a big fan, my son loves you, he loves your books, blah, blah, blah. And then I finally go, what is she doing? And she goes, honey, aren't you gonna introduce me? He goes, yeah, hey Stan, this is my wife Angelina. And you know, how did you make this comic book? Just blew her off. And I was just like, holy, you know, it's Angelina. And they're talking, and all of a sudden, they're having their fun. They take their photo. And then after, this is the time, if you guys remember, they were supposed to be getting a divorce. They're separating. Man, I'm telling you, when they were together, they sat, I was sitting here, they're right behind me. There were like 2 kids in the back of a car. Literally just kissing and hugging, kissing and hugging. And then, what was the next thing I remember?
Oh, tell them about, let me tell them about President Bush.
Oh, that was good. That was a good one.
I went to Washington to receive an award from President Bush. It was called, I don't even remember what it was called, but a few people got it, and one of them was, what's the name of the actress? What we played with Errol Flynn.
Olivia
de
There you
Havilland,
go.
if you've heard it.
Yeah.
She was usually Errol Flynn's co-star in the movies. Anyway, he gave her the award, and he kissed her on the cheek, and she walked away. Then it was my turn. So I came over, and he put the ribbon with the thing around my neck. And I don't know what made me say it, but I said, you're not going to kiss me too, are you? And he started laughing, and I started laughing, and they took a picture of us. And there I am with the President of the United States laughing, the two of us like we're buddies. So phony that I am, I have the photo on my wall in the office, so people will think that President Bush and me, we were just like that.
He has multiple photos of that. But let's get to a question over here. How about the guy right here?
How would you describe your military career?
How would you describe your military career, Steve?
It was fruitful. I think we accomplished a lot, but I'm going to tell you something that isn't very military, but I think it's a little funny. In North Carolina, they had the, no, not North Carolina, in Indianapolis, they had the headquarters of the Army Finance Corps. Now, these men were not commandos. They were bookkeepers, and they were the ones who had to fill out the payrolls for the troops. What happened was they were not doing a good job. They were all in the Army, but they were payroll people. And the troops weren't getting paid on time overseas, and it was causing a bad morale problem. So I was sent for, and my job, if I would accept it, was to find a way to teach these people how to make their payroll forms simpler so that the troops could get paid faster. It was complicated. I succeeded. We won the war probably because of that, but that isn't the funny thing. The colonel at the post said, you know, our troops have no morale. Everybody else is fighting and becoming a hero, and they're just sitting doing paperwork. Is there something you can do to increase their morale?
Get your cameras out.
So I decided to give them a song that
this.
they could sing, that they could march to when they had their drill. And you know the Air Force song that goes, off we go into the wild blue yonder? So I wrote a song for them to that tune, and I'm going to sing it for you now, because this song inspired them and it increased their morale. And it went, off we go into our office yonder, at our desks morning till night, far away from any battle's plunder. We pay off the fellows who fight, clerks alert, guarding our books from blunder. Payroll forms clutter the floor. We write, compute, sit tight to boot. Nothing'll stop the Army Finance Corps. Well, corny as that was, they loved it. And they used to march around singing it at the top of their lungs. And our soldiers started to get paid on time, and morale was better overseas, all thanks to me. You realize now that singing is not one of my strong points.
You have a question? She's a big fan. She's glad you're here in Boston.
Well, I'm glad I'm here in Boston too. Thank you for inviting me. In case you didn't realize it, Boston happens to be a great city.
Okay, let's try the guy way back there raising his hand. Yeah, it's you.
If you had all of your characters in an arena, win in a fight.
If you had all your characters in an arena, who would come out to win? All your characters, good and bad.
Maybe Galactus.
That's a good one. Okay, how about the young lady right there? Yes.
I want to know, has Stan ever seen the 1944 Captain America movie?
Yes.
And what did he think about it?
He loved it. It's funny because at home, at his house, and this is funny, and I'm going to go a little off track. We started years ago, and it's kind of so he can do this. What we did is he had some stuff I was cleaning out of his garage one day, me and my buddy, and he says, Max, I want you to clean out this garage, get rid of everything. I go, but Stan, get rid of everything, he tells me. I said, okay. And before, do you guys remember those Marvel masterpieces books, those big, thick books? Well, Marvel used to send them, not just one copy, send them like 15, 20 copies of the same book. And he never likes to throw anything away because he likes it and he'll give it away to kids and so on. Well, the books got more popular, the more books came in. So his garage started getting filled up with all kinds of stuff. So one day we just start throwing stuff out. And we go through there and we find some old stuff that he's gotten as gifts. And he
I have no idea what he's talking about.
So what ends up happening, we go through the stuff, we find some original gifts that like Bob Kane gave him. One of them said, had a picture of a full-size Joker. It says, to my best pal, Stan the Man Lee, love Bob Kane. And I show it to him and he's like, I know. And he goes, and look at that one. And I'm like, I open it up, it's another one, the guy that created Popeye. I said, look at that one. I'm like, oh my God, this, Stan, do you have any idea what you got? Yeah, I know what I got. And I go, what are you going to do with it? I don't know, Max. And his wife tells me, take it, Max, it's all yours, take it. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, so I take it. But I did some legal things so I can make sure I'm protected for future. Well, believe me, I mean, some of the, and where I'm getting to, we end up starting, he started his own comic book convention in Los Angeles called Kamikaze. And so we said, hey, you know what, let's try something. So we always like to think, I like to think out of the box. I said, let's make a museum. And he's like, I'm not dead. And I go, you don't have to be dead. So everything he created, I started putting into that museum. And now it's become so big, there's stuff that's in there that I'm just blown away. Like, let me think. Oh, that's funny. And thinking about, like, It's just popping into my head. Years ago, if we can, hey, come on up. Okay, Kirby. Years ago, Stan used to write books, stories for movies all the time. You guys remember Spider-Man, the TV series, the one with the funny glasses, and he had the web right here in the 70s? Well, back in the day, he wrote up some scripts about, you know, Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer, Captain America, Spider-Man, you know, and so on and so on. Well, going through this stuff just recently, I look and I said, what the? And I go, Stan, what's this? Oh, those are the scripts that I wrote for the movies that I wanted to do. I goes, what do you mean the movies you wanted to do? The way I wanted to do them. I'm like, really? And he goes, let me look at it. I look at it. He has the original script, or one of the original scripts, because there's always revisions, of when, who was that guy? The guy that did Terminator, oh my God. James Cameron, whatever. Yeah, when he was originally attached to the movie, he has that script. He has the Back to the Future script that they gave to him, which is totally different from what the story is. He has a Jaws scripts, he has all kinds of stuff. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And he sees it, I mean, to me, I'm a fanboy. And some people say, you got the luckiest job. And I go, yeah, but sometimes I get amazed by looking at the things that he's done that he just says, yeah, I did it. So that's my little fanboy moment. Okay, the girl with the hat, yeah, there you go, sweetheart.
Who was the first character that Stan ever thought of?
I got it in my head, but I'm gonna make sure, because I don't want to be wrong again. Stan, what was your first Marvel character? What was your first character? It doesn't have to be Marvel, but what was your first character that you drew, or you thought of, and you wrote it out? I have an idea who it might be.
You mean before I went to Marvel?
Yeah, you can do before and after.
You know, I really don't know. I wrote a lot of things just for my own amusement before I went to work at Marvel, but I don't remember now what they were. At Marvel, the first thing I wrote that mattered was the Fantastic Four. But I don't know what I wrote before then, really. I can't think of it.
I think it was the Destroyer.
Huh?
The Destroyer. The Destroyer.
Well, the Destroyer was, that was at Marvel. I thought you meant before I went to Marvel.
Before or after, either one.
Oh, well, when I was at Marvel, before I even got to do the Fantastic Four, I did the Destroyer. I did one called Father Time. He could change time. Oh, I don't know. I must have done a dozen or more that didn't last because I was doing them the way my publisher wanted me to do them. He said, don't pay any attention to characterization. Don't worry about dialogue. I don't want to see too many words. Just give me action, action, action. So I was writing those kind of stories, and that wasn't really what I wanted to do. So I don't even remember them. They just went by the wayside. I wanted to write stories about people that you might care about instead of just people fighting. All right?
I was right, the Destroyer.
All right.
Sometimes he gets mad at me like he blows a fuse. Max, and he does that. And he says to me, that's it, Max, you're done. And I'm like, okay. You're not mad? Nope. And I goes, I'll see you tomorrow. I just told you you're done. And I said, yeah, whatever. And then he says, you're not taking me serious. I said, Stan, I can't take you serious. And he says to me, why not? Because I don't report to you. And he goes,
Now what do you say?
nothing. And then he says, because what do you mean you don't report to me? I write your checks. And I go, yeah, you write the checks, but I know who I have to report to. And he looks at me, and he says to me, he says, how does he say it? He says, God, I don't like to say because there's kids in here, but blah, blah. And goes, my wife. I go, yeah. I report to his wife. She tells me.
I can't join in when I can't hear what you're saying.
No, it's how about beautiful your wife is, how nice she is, how she loves me and takes care of me, Stan. She does. So anyway, I report to her. She tells me make sure he comes back healthy, better than he was, and that's it. So, but yeah.
You better get through here soon because I got to phone her.
See? You see? It's funny, he has a certain time he has to call.
What time is it in L.A.?
You got 25 minutes. It's 6:35.
Okay, I can still call it.
You see? Okay, a couple more questions and we're good. So if anybody hasn't asked a question, we'll get the ones that did.
They
okay?
haven't had time for questions. You've been doing all the talking.
They love the stories. They love the stories. Yeah, I'm going to do all that. Okay, the girl in the orange is pointing at somebody, so let's go with who she's pointing with. Okay, there you go.
Oh, my name is Peter. I love you, Stanley.
The guy's dressed up as Spider-Man. His name is Peter. He loves you.
I love you, Spidey.
All right, let's start with the guy with the comic book in his hand.
So I know us meeting you today is like one of our biggest moments we're gonna have with us for the rest of our lives. I just want to know if Stan has ever met a hero of his that stuck with him for the rest of his.
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I know the question to that one. The answer. He wants to know, these guys are going to remember this moment for them. It's like a big thing.
Going to remember this what?
This is a big moment for them to meet you.
Well, it's a big moment for me to meet them.
Okay. Now they want to know, is there someone you met in your life that was like, wow?
Yeah. I met Ronald Reagan.
Ooh. That was a good one. I didn't expect him.
I'll tell you, it was very funny. It was a dinner. I won't go into all the details, but I was sitting here. President Reagan was sitting right there facing me at a table like this at a dinner. Helen Hayes, the actress, was over there, and I forget his name. There was an actor over there, but Reagan was the important one. He was no longer president. This was about 8 months after he had been president. Well, I'm facing the ex-president of the United States. I've got to say something. What do I say? So I finally said to him, gosh, Mr. President, you must be so relieved to be a civilian now and not have all the worries of the world on your shoulders. And I'll never forget his answer. He looked at me with such enthusiasm, and he said, no, Stan, I love being president. And I'll never forget that. He just loved being president, and nobody was going to tell him he must be relieved to be a civilian now. So that was my big, what did you ask me?
Another big one just recently, too. He went to a concert. No, I'm sorry, it was Robert Downey Jr.'s birthday. He just wanted to pop in and say hi, kind of sneak around. Well, I wasn't there, but he told me about it. You want to tell him?
Barbara Streisand.
There you go. That was good.
All of a sudden, those of you who are very young don't even know who Barbara Streisand is, but she was one of the great singers. And she's supposed to have been rather an unfriendly person. And I'm at this place, and she comes running over to me. I didn't know who she was at first. Stan, I'm so glad to meet you. And it was Barbara Streisand. I couldn't wait to get home and tell my wife, but she wasn't impressed.
That's funny. Okay, we'll take 2 more questions. The guy in the silver hair, Quicksilver there.
Stan, how was your day? How have you been doing?
Hey, Stan, they want to know, how's your day? How you been doing?
How what?
How's your day been?
You can't stop taking questions because I got to keep signing these. So you got to sit here until we're through. Are you sure people aren't coming back a second time?
Oh, I'm positive.
How would you know? My day has been very good because you people in Boston are just great, and it's wonderful being with you. And I mean it.
Okay, last question, and then we're going to kind of speed this through. And I wanted to give it to a kid. So let's make the kid make it work. Obviously, there's that kid jumping up right there. I don't know. Let's see that. I don't know. Maybe there's someone taller than him, but I guess he's it. Let's go. Make it worth our while. What's the question, buddy?
Do you think that Marvel, because now that they do, now that they're part of them is owned by Disney, that there'll be some more things in like that Disney does, just like parks and for Marvel?
I can't even. You said something about if Disney is going to be making something with Marvel at a Disney park.
Are you doing like a Marvel theme park or something?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can tell you that. I know that for a fact. It's funny. That's a story. That's another one I can bring up, and not to kind of get my 2 cents in. Who would win, Apocalypse or Galactus?
I think Galactus.
Yeah, Galactus. Yay. Hey, so this will be the last thing I tell you. So no more questions after this one. So here's the story. We went to. It's just a signature.
You'll kill me.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. We went to Orlando for a show, and then I tell him, hey Stan, let's go to Adventure Island. Yeah, Adventure Island. So we get there, and Stan says, okay, let's just go. And then the driver says, hey, I know the VP there. We'll get you in through the back door. We'll get you through the secret thing, and yada yada yada. And I'm just like, let's just walk in. And I said, okay, Stan, let's just go. So we get up there. The guy drops us off right in the front. We start walking in. Come on, guys, come on through. We start walking in. We pay for our ticket. And the lady, he's about to pay for us. I take my card out and I pay for it. And the lady's like, okay, that's... She keeps doing that. And I'm like, oh, my God, please don't say nothing. So I kind of got to move over to the left. And, hey, miss, we're in a rush. Can we get in? She goes, yeah, here's your ticket. She does that, and I said, okay, thank you. We walked in, and then she opens up her door. I look, and she opens her door. She looks. She's like, oh, God, please don't say nothing. We get through the gate. We get through the turnstile, and the guy's not even paying attention. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye. Here's a pamphlet, and we walk. We get through the Harry Potter place. We get over to Adventure Island. I'm like, we're home free. We're going to be able to enjoy Adventure Island. Right when we get there, and it's funny, we get up, we get the camera, and I said, Stan, I'm just going to take a picture of you just for the hell of it. And my son takes the camera out, and he has this fancy camera that I don't even know how it works, but basically it's like you hold the trigger and go, it does one of those things, how like that. Anyway, we start doing that, and the next thing you know, I hear, oh my God. And I go, Stan, we got to go. And she goes,
Wish I knew what he was talking about.
About the time we went to Adventure Island at Orlando, when we went to go see your ride, the Spider-Man ride. Remember the Stanley Boulevard?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I go, Stan, we got to go. And he goes, why? They know who you are. And he goes, who? Them. And you see this mob of people coming. And I go, Stan, we got to go. And not thinking where we're going, we make a left, and we happen to be under Stanley Boulevard. I'm like, bullseye, Next thing you know, security comes out, and he goes, hey, back away, leave Mr. Lee alone. He goes, no, they're my fans. Come on over. He starts signing, taking pictures. And then the next thing you know, you have this entourage of security coming through the whole place. I'm like, holy smokes, who's coming, the president? No, it was the guy that owned Universal at the time. He comes in there, Mr. Lee, my name is so-and-so, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. This is so-and-so. And I'm like, okay, buddy, we just want to ride the ride and go. So he gets us in there, closes the whole ride down, and he sells, and the ride for Spider-Man is a roller coaster ride. I thought it was just a walk-through ride. I swear to you, on my kids. I looked at it, and the guy says, oh, it's a roller coaster ride. I said, we're not getting on it. There's no way we're getting on it. And I'm thinking, this guy's, And he goes, no, I want to get on it. And I go, oh, my God, please, Stan, don't, please. And he goes, Max, I want to get on the ride. What's the problem? And I'm not going to tell him, hey, you got to, something might go wrong. So he gets on the ride, and you see the security camera, and I got a copy of it, because there's a camera in the thing aiming you right here, in the back and in the front, just for their own protection. If you guys don't know, they have it. So we're on the ride, and I'm like this, just looking at him all through the ride. And he's like, yeah! You know? And they go, did you see me, Max? There I am right there. And I'm like, oh my God, please give me a heart attack. We get out of there. The VP guy comes up, and he says, security guy comes up, and he goes, Mr. Anderson, you're Mr. Anderson. I go, yes, it is. Well, let us know how long you need to be here. We'll clear the park out for you, blah, blah, blah. And I go, no, that was it. That's all he wanted to. No. The so-and-so person says, whatever you want. I go, no, this is all we wanted. He wanted to see the ride. He wanted to take a picture and leave. He goes, okay, we'll escort you out. Freaking, these 30 guys surround him like he's the president. We're walking out, and all of a sudden the fans are like, Stan, we love you. I love you too. And he goes, can we get an autograph? Yeah, sure. Then wham! Mob of people again. We start signing. And that was the biggest time that I've ever seen something go a little chaotic, because the things we do, we like to go into places that no one knows. If he goes to a theater, he likes to go to a normal theater, wear a hat, have some fun, back in the day, or go to dinner. And it's a typical Stan Lee day. And I'll tell you who he lives around with, and it's kind of funny. Think of a ruler, 1 through 12. Across the street, that guy, I can't remember his damn name half the time. The guy that does the movie The Transporter. That dude lives across the street. Down the street, right in the cul-de-sac, Dr. Dre lives there.
Well, that was a long story. I couldn't hear one word.
Now tell me the people who live around you while you're signing.
What?
The people that live around you.
Oh.
And how I met him, he's coming through, and he honks, and I'm like, who the hell are you honking to tell? Stan was in the walkway kind of going through, and he goes like that, and I'm about to yell at him, and I go, oh shit, Dr. Dre. And I go, hey, I didn't know what to say, Mr. Dre. So I was like, hey, Dre. No, I called him, hey, D, how are you? Pretty good. Hey, how's Stan doing? I said, he's good. I go, hey, can you say hi to my son? Yeah. Hey, what's up? That was it. Okay, Dr. Dre lives down the corner. Leo DiCaprio lives around the corner. He goes walking, and Leo comes up, Stan! And Stan goes, who the hell are you?
I don't even know who he is.
Leo DiCaprio came out and said hi to you. He comes around and he goes, it's me, Leo DiCaprio, la la la. We met when we went to the Cameron party, because he just got, what's the thing called, attached to Titanic. And anyway, so he lives there, and then there's a Ricardo Montalban. You guys remember him? Yeah. Right on that's where I fanboyed out. Lives right around the corner from him, and it's just like, and then people would come to his house. Hey, does Madonna live here? No. You ever guys see that episode of, obviously, of Big Bang? It actually happens. But it isn't him that does that. It's his housekeeper lady, Alicia. No, you don't come back here. Mr. Lee not signing anything. So, and then I'm going to end it with this last one. Me and him, every time we pull up from the office or something, you got these tour buses that come by. They come down the hill. Yeah, over here to your left, James Amos lives right there, and over here, and then all of a sudden, and to your right, they stop right in front of his house. They go, and to your right, the famous creator Stan Lee lives right there. If you're real quiet, you could probably hear him right now yelling at his housekeeper. And I'm like, oh my God. So I told Stan what they're saying. I don't yell at my housekeeper, because he yells from one side of the house to the other side of the house. That's what he yells. So the driver comes by, and me and my son are outside. We pull up, and the guy's, well, folks, we're coming to our last stop, and this is where Stan Lee lives at. And I go, he's lying. He doesn't live here. I've been living here for the last 5 years. And the guy says, no, that's Mr. Anderson. He works for him. And I'm like, okay, whatever, you got me there. So that was the end of that. So our ride ends, and what we're going to do is kind of speed it along, guys. So we're going to go by the road we're doing right now. I don't know where we're at. Where are we at right now? Okay. So what we're gonna do, just move it along quickly so the next row get behind them.
You mean we're not done yet?
No, not at all.
What time is it again?
You got time.
What time is it at home?
10 to 7.
I gotta make a phone call.
Oh, I know. See, the fear, guys.
Let me make a phone call.
You
for
see,
5 minutes.
the fear.
You talk to everybody.
It's right there.
With my phone.
Do you want to do it here, or do you want to do it over there?
No, just keep talking.
Okay.
We want to say hi to Joni. Who's Joni's favorite character?
I gotta beat him. No. Hello, almighty queen.
You got her, and I'm still waiting.
I got your manservant on the phone. Just a moment. I always, every time I call, I always call, and you know she's an awesome woman, love her to death. Hey, don't hang up. Hang on, I'm gonna see if I can get her.
Are you all right?
Perfect.
Anything new?
Nah.
What?
He's with his rest of his family, his daughter, his grandson. Hey, Joni.
Just tell her what you said. Don't have
Oh,
a
no,
whole conversation.
Ken Brunt, everybody's here except his wife.
Why wasn't she here?
She didn't come. She was at home, and everybody else is here with Ken.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
See, he hates me. You'll find out why.
I have to hang up because we're in the middle. But I wanted to say good night. Everything is fine.
Hang on, don't hang up. Don't hang up. Don't hang up.
Wait.
Hey,
What?
Joni. How are you?
What? She's talking to you more than she spoke to me.
Joni, we're in a room full of people, and these people want to say hi to you. Is that okay? Okay, I'll get them to say it. Hang on. Then you can say something back. Okay, go ahead, guys. They said hi to you, Joni. They said hi to you, Joni. They love you.
Hi, Joni. This is Joni. This is Stan Lee's wife. This is the woman behind the man.
This is the woman behind the man. All right, Joni. We love you. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. You can't get better than that. Let's go, guys.
Okay, here we are.
So,